Hello YouTube, I'm Real Talk Yorkshire and I've been tagged again to do another video, and as usual I like to get on these as soon as possible, that way I don't forget to do them. So this time there's a tag going around and I was tagged by Icelandic Psycho. I will put a link to his channel in the description. Go check him out, he's got a very good channel. I'm surprised now that I'm looking and he's barely under the 2,000 subscribers mark. For some reason, I got it into my head that it was one of these that had like 20 to 30,000. Such a good channel. If I were to recommend any video as well, I would say go check out his Stanley Kubrick ranked video. It's a really good video, that. But then, yeah, I'll watch anybody rank Kubrick, basically. So yeah, the first thing I'd like to say is thank you very much, Icelandic Psycho, for tagging me in this. This is called 6 Great Movies Not Easily Found on Popular Streaming Services, but I believe the original tag was something along the lines of not on Netflix, and so I'm going to go with that because the films I'm going to go with, you can probably rent them on YouTube, they may be on Prime, but there might be the sort of things on Prime that you've actually got to pay for, so I'm just going to stick with the not on Netflix. So yeah, the first thing I wanted to say was thank you very much, Icelandic Psycho, for tagging me in this. It's a great opportunity to talk about these films that I've been dying to talk about since I started the channel, basically. Second of all, can I just say sorry to Ash over at Popcorn and Horror. I watched his video the other day when he did his tag, and I thought the title said "not now on Netflix" instead of "not on Netflix," and so my comment on Ash's video were me talking about how I only use Netflix when there's like a new Squid Game, or you know, those who do the Dharma and the Ed Gein thing. So yeah, sorry to Ash. I don't know. Yeah, I just thought your title said now on Netflix and not on Netflix. Sorry about that. So yeah, I got 6 films, and it's a good mix, I think. We got one that is probably the most obscure film I own. We got one that is a parody of the old Grindhouse films. We got one that is just totally weird. We got one that is a really good 80s slasher. We got one that is a very strange film from Mexico. And then the final one is going to be one of the first DVDs I ever bought on Amazon, actually. I had to import it from South Korea. So I think we've got a good mix of films here, and to save me from saying it over and over again, what I will say is, sorry about that microphone. If any of these sound like your thing, do go check them out because they are really good films. So yeah, we had to go with 6. I did actually accidentally get 7, so I'll just say I'll talk about rope in another video, maybe. I didn't realise I was just pulling random stuff off the shelves, and before I knew it, I had 7 instead of 6. So yeah, we will discuss that in another video. Right, let's get that intro run, and we'll get on with looking at these. I'm going to try and keep this under 20 minutes because my last 2 videos were a little bit too long for my liking. So yeah, 6 films not on Netflix. I'll join you after the intro. Right, so as I said, this is a really good opportunity for me just to talk about these films, even if I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible. So first up, I've got a film. I believe this is from the 70s. This, I think, out of everything I own, I'm just looking at the shelves now, I think this is the most obscure film that I own. I've heard one other person talk about this on YouTube before, and I had to import this from somewhere. A little bit like Bad Boy Bubby, but wherever I got this from, I'm sure I had to wait like 2 weeks for it to get here. Yeah, this is a very strange film from the 70s, and it's called Bad Ronald. Please do let me know in the comments if you have seen this. It is a very good film. So very quickly, Ronald is a young teenager. One day when he's out just walking around the neighborhood, and I'm not going to spoil anything, he accidentally kills a young girl. And he goes back home, and him and his mum, he just lives with his mum. I don't know, I can't remember what happened to his dad. Him and his mum devise a plan, because obviously the police are after him, and they're fairly sure that they know that he's the guy who it was accidentally, he didn't actually mean to kill the girl. So the police are after Ronald, and him and his mum come up with an idea that she's going to tell the police and the authorities that she doesn't know where he is. Meanwhile, Ronald is going to live within the walls of the house. Between the walls in the house that they live, there's like a huge crawl space, which is sort of big enough to get around in. and Ronald ends up living within the crawl space. Now that makes an interesting film, and I think that's interesting enough. I mean, that's a good idea for a film. But things go wrong, and his mum actually dies, and obviously his mum. They take his mum's body, have the funeral, and what have you. Ronald is still living in the crawl space between the walls, and a new family moves into the house. And obviously, he needs to come out at night so that he can raid the fridge. And he gets obsessed with the young girl that moves in. It's a really, really good film. It's not one that I hear too many people talk about. And yeah, it's just a really, really. I've not seen many other films like this, if I'm honest. Yeah, really, really good film. That is Bad Ronald. That's from 1970 something. I will put the date below if I remember during editing. But yeah, let me know if you've seen that. That's a film called Bad Ronald. Next up, I've never shown this film to anybody who hasn't really liked it and found it really, really funny. And this is a film called Run Bitch Run. If you are familiar with it, you may be familiar with the film that they show in this, which I believe was the first film that the directors made. It's a film called where are you? Nude Nuns with Big Guns, which is just as insane as it sounds. But yeah, Run Bitch Run. It's like a parody of old Grindhouse films, especially Last House on the Left, House at the Edge of the Park, I Spit on Your Grave, MS-45 a little bit, I guess. Yeah, it's really offensive. It's sort of like a parody of Grindhouse, but more the subset of, the rape and revenge sort of films. It sort of takes a piss out of those, but in one way you could see it as a parody. In another way, it's sort of like a tribute to those films. Had it not been so funny, they really could have made this more of a sort of tribute to those sort of films. But yeah, it comes across way more like a parody. And the main bad guy in it, anybody who's seen it, you'll remember. Can I find a photo of him anywhere? No, he's not on the back. But the main character looks like Frank from Shameless, which makes it even funnier. But yeah, this is a really, really good film. You can pick this up on eBay as I did for under a fiver, I reckon. I've never seen it to buy out in the wild. And to be honest, I can't even remember how I found this to begin with. I think it might have been back in the day where I used to just look for cheap horror films that I'd not heard of that sounded interesting, and I probably found it that way. But yeah, this is really good, and if you do end up going on to watch this, do check out Nude Nuns with Big Guns, because it's makes a really good double bill with this one. So yeah, for my second choice, I'm going to go with Run Bitch Run. Next up, another one. If you have seen this one, let me know, because I don't hear too many people mention this. This is a bizarre film, and it's why I like it so much. I think it's just very, very strange. It's a film called Pin. As always, I will put up the date of release below. I can't, from the top of my head, I think this may be very early 90s. So Pin is, can I find an image on the back? Right, there's a very, very faint image of what I'm going to try and describe to you. Let me just see if it picks it up on the camera. Okay, so you can see sort of the top half there. Pin, I get not the character, but Pin the thing is an anatomically correct dummy that sits in a chair. And the film is about these two kids are raised by their mum and dad. Their mum, I believe, has OCD. I can't really remember too much about the mum, but the dad is a doctor or a surgeon. And basically, when the two kids that this follows, when they were really young, whenever they got into trouble or did anything wrong, the dad would take them into the room, sit them down, and make them talk to Pin, the dummy that just sits there. And this picks up a little bit. It sort of shows when they were kids, but then it picks up when they're young teenagers. And as you fast forward in time, as they've gone from being children to teenagers, Pin the dummy is like a major part of their life. They go and talk to it about problems that they're having at school. And what's even weirder is that I don't, I can't remember if you actually hear Pin's voice, but the kids can actually communicate with Pin. It's a really, really weird film. And there's a scene where a woman just randomly, I can't even remember why she's in the house, but she just randomly has sex with Pin, the dummy. Very, very bizarre film. I'm sure some of you have seen it. It even says there at the bottom, bizarre and very creepy. Yeah, it's a very good film. As I say, I've probably butchered the plot, but yeah, essentially, two kids are raised in a house where there's a dummy that they're always forced to talk to whenever they've done anything wrong, and as they progress into teenagers and adulthood, they've still got a connection with Pin, and they still go to him all the time for advice, even though they're way beyond the age that you should really be talking to a dummy for advice. Yeah, really weird film. I've not even checked to see if these are on Netflix or not. I'm just gonna guess that they're not on Netflix. But yeah, that's for my third choice. Is it? Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pin. Very weird, very wonderful, very strange. Just my sort of thing, if I'm honest. Pin, really good film. Next up, I hope the majority of you watching this have seen this because I couldn't I couldn't justify putting this in my top 80s. My top 10 80s video. It will be in my top 100 horror films. I love this film. Part it is cheesy, but it's really entertaining as well, and it's a very good sci-fi slasher, and it's called Chopping Mall. I do think that I'm not one for upgrading Blu-ray DVDs to Blu-rays all the time, but I think when I like a film this much, I can probably justify it, especially if there are extras on it. So, Chopping Mall, what is it about? So, it's like from 1983, 1984, or something like that. A bunch of teenagers work in a mall, and it is a Friday. And when the mall shuts for the night on Friday, the teenagers that work there all have a plan on having a massive secret party after all the bosses have left. It just happens that this exact night that the teenagers are planning on having a party, the shopping mall has a bunch of robots that they're going to use as security guards. Now the thing is, if one of the robots comes up to you and you actually work at the mall and you're there after closing time, the robot won't do anything because it can scan your sort of name badge and it recognizes that you're supposed to be on the property. The problem is, a few minutes before the teenagers are going to have the massive party in the mall, lightning strikes the building and it sends the robots sort of haywire. I believe the robots are referred to as killbots, I think, because I'm pretty sure the original working title was supposed to be Killbots or Killbots 2000 or something like that. But yeah, I really like this. It's got Dick Miller in it as well. As he's not in it for much, but he's sort of like a janitor that works in the mall, and that's a really funny scene when he gets electrocuted. And then what does the killbot say? Have thank you for I can't remember. Have a good day or something like that. But yeah, it's a really really silly but a really really enjoyable 80s slasher. Really good film. That is Chopping Mall. Next up, I'm going to go with this. This is a film from Mexico. Now, this is a film that I had on VHS back in the day. And when I got rid of the majority of my VHS tapes, I got rid of when I was about 15, 16, maybe 17, and I replaced everything with DVD. I couldn't for the life in me remember the title of this, and I kept typing all sorts of search queries into Google. Ouija board film with a cheesy ending, low budget Ouija board film. I couldn't find it for years, and then one day I just happened to use just the perfect keywords, and I found it again. This is a film called Don't Panic. Now, to be honest, the bulk of this film to me is pretty forgettable. It's a little bit generic. You got a teenager, I believe it's on his 17th birthday. He gets a Ouija board. Him and his friends fuck about with the Ouija board, and then killings start to happen. Now, whenever these bodies turn up after they've been killed, the main character starts to have visions of what happened, and he becomes a suspect. I'm not going to spoil anything else, but the reason that I wanted this, and the reason I remembered this film so much, is that like the entire film is played out just like your typical low budget horror movie, teen slasher sort of thing. But then the ending, and Hills on the Hunt has actually got a box set by the guy who made this. I think he's got a few of his other films. So Hills on the Hunt, and anybody else who's happened to see this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that the bulk of the film is just a low budget teen slasher sort of supernatural Ouija board thing. The last 2 minutes of the film, the ending, it's like an episode of fucking I don't like Coronation Street or something. Like the ending is so cheesy to this. When the guy's face appears and it's like, yeah. Honestly, it's one of the most cringe engines. It's one of the most cringe endings to probably any horror film I've ever seen. It's the only reason I want to get it on DVD again, because the film itself is all right, but it's just the ending and a lot of the voices. I seem to remember the main character, obviously because it's made in Mexico. The main character sounds like, I can't remember, is it Ren or Stimpy, which is the one with the Mexican accent. I think it's Ren. Oh, Stimpy, look what he did to my arm, and he talks just like Ren or Stimpy. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I mean, it's just overall, it's a very average film, but I think this is worth seeing just to watch the cheesy ending because it is so like, I yeah, it is so cringe the ending. That's a film called Don't Panic. As always, I will put the year below just so you know when it's from. And last but not least, I believe this was maybe the fourth or fifth film that I ever bought on Amazon. It was one of the early films I ever bought. It was also the first film I ever bought that I had to import from the country that it were made in. And this is from South Korea, so I seem to remember waiting up to 2 to 3 weeks for this to arrive. Did anybody used to watch? I stopped watching TV around 2007. So around 2005, 2006, does anybody remember when Ross Noble? Does anybody remember when Jonathan Ross used to do a TV show about films? I caught it one night when he was talking about South Korean films, and two of them really, really piqued my interest. The first one was a film called Attack the Gas Station. My copy was destroyed. I lent it to a friend. He lived in a ground floor flat, and the flat flooded basically. And he told me that he remembers waking up one day, and the first thing he saw was my DVD copy of Attack the Gas Station just floating by in water. But if I ever do pick it up again, I will do a video on it. It's quite pricey now, actually. Yeah, enough waffling. This is from South Korea. As I said, I watched some show that Jonathan Ross used to do about Korean films, and I bought Attack the Gas Station, and the other one that piqued my interest was this. I can't read South Korean, but I know that the film is called Samaritan Girl. I think some of you guys that are like really, really into your South Korean films will probably know of this. So Samaritan Girl is about a. It starts. I'll give you the setup for the film, but I won't spoil anything that happens in the film, if that makes sense. So everything I tell you is just going to be from like the first 10 minutes. So it's about a child prostitute who obviously sleeps with men for money. And one day she's got a job in an apartment, and the police go in to bust her because they're aware of what's going on. Now she's got two choices. She can go down, get arrested, her family will find out, and she'll just be disgraced for the rest of her life. Or she can jump out of the third floor window and potentially commit suicide. She jumps out of the window, she lands on the floor. Safe to say, she sadly dies. And her dad finds out about this, and the dad finds out that his daughter has secretly been a child prostitute. And what happens is he finds a little booklet that she's been keeping, and not yeah, it just gets really, really bad because not only has he just found out his child's dead, he then finds out that she was a child prostitute, and then when he finds a little notebook that she's keeping, he finds out that the guys she's been sleeping with haven't actually been paying her the money, and that basically there was some sort of situation where she'd sleep with a guy and they'd just owe her the money and eventually pay her back. And the dad has to go around. I think he does it so that he can. One, it's to get a little bit of closure. I think he feels like he has to do it. And two, I think that he goes around to collect the money so that he can cover the cost for the funeral. And so you've got the dad of the child prostitute who dies right at the start of the film, and he literally has to go around collecting the money from the guys, and it's really depressing, but it's a really, really powerful film. It features is it Gymnopody by Eric Satie, Eric Satie, the French minimalist composer. And I found that piece of music from this film. Now, if you will know that piece of music. If you don't know it by name, you'll have heard it tons of times on adverts. There's a lot of songs that sample it. But yes, Samaritan Girl, child prostitute dies, and the dad has to go around collecting all the debts from the guys that have been sleeping with his daughter. It's a really, really good film. That's a director, Kim Ki-duk. I have seen something else by Kim Ki-duk, but I can't remember right now which film it were. But anyway, yeah, let me know if you've seen Samaritan Girl, and let me also know if you'd be interested in seeing it. It's a very, very, very good film. I've just noticed now that it has actually got a little bit of English at the bottom there, Samaritan Girl. Yeah, let me know if it sounds like your sort of thing, and definitely let me know if you've seen that. So I'll just do a very quick recap. This has been a short video for me, to be fair. I think we're around 20 minutes. So we had Bad Ronald, Run Bitch Run, Pin, the excellent Chopping Mall, one of my favourite horror films of all time, the very cheesy ending to Don't Panic, and finally we went with Samaritan Girl by Kim Ki-duk from South Korea. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to try and edit a little bit of the waffling out so this video may be under 20 minutes if I can help it. Thank you very much for watching. Again, thank you to the Icelandic Psycho for tagging me in this. Oh, I need to tag some people now, don't I? Right, just bear with me. I need to find who's been tagged and who hasn't. Right, you know what I'm going to do? The first 3 channels that I click on, if they haven't done it, I'm just going to choose them. There's one, and there's one. Right, let's have a look. Okay, so first up I'm going to tag Jodie's Movie Realm. She hasn't done it, I'm just checking out her videos now. Second of all, I'm going to tag the awesome Blue Roy Movies. You just double checking? No, he hasn't done it. So I'll tag Blue Roy Movies, and I will tag another great channel, Stuart George. Stuart George's Home Movies. I will tag you. Do you know what? I'll do a 4th tag as well. The X-File guy. I always forget his name. X-File 2708. Let me just make sure he's not being tagged already. Yeah, so I'm going to tag you guys. So we've got X-File 2708, Stuart George's Home Movies, Blue Roy Movies, and Jodie's Movie Realm. Again, as usual, if you can't be asked doing a video response, it's alright. Just don't bother. And I'm just noticing now that Jodie's page is making my face look purple. That'll be a nice ending there. I'll be pretty in pink, I guess. Right, I've been Real Talk Yorkshire. Thank you very much for watching. That has been 6 films that are not on Netflix. That'll be it from me for this week. I think my pickups video will be going up on Saturday. So yeah, take it easy, and I'll see you on Saturday. Until next time, keep calm and keep collecting.